I want to get to this article that Bucky Brooks wrote for NFL.com. And I just got to say that I love the fact that Bucky Brooks is like a media member because I just remember Bucky Brooks having this huge preseason game for the Bills in the 90s and then, just bouncing around to teams. I think he played defensive back at one point for Green Bay. So just a great random name, Bucky Brooks. But he wrote this big article for NFL.com, and I'm kind of baffled by it. He wrote the sleeper teams in the NFL: Atlanta, Green Bay, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and Jacksonville. Are any of those teams actual sleepers to you? I mean, Jacksonville maybe because they had such a poor season last year, but Pittsburgh, I feel like Pittsburgh and Green Bay, because of NFL history, can never be called sleepers. They're going to have a ton of attention.
Yeah.
They have all-time great quarterbacks. How exactly, when you have Hall of Fame quarterbacks, can you say that anyone is a sleeper? The Vikings were a team that last year would have been in everyone's Super Bowl or bust team. The Falcons pick I like, though. And I guess the Jacksonville one mildly, but I'm just not really sold on Doug Marrone, as always.
Yeah.
Who are the actual? So we agree that like you can't really be the Packers and be a sleeper in the National Football League. So who should be the actual sleeper teams in the NFL?
Yeah, I think a couple from the NFC that I really like. I like Tampa Bay. Bruce Arians is a guy I think we both respect. I think Jameis Winston's somebody who, while he's had his issues as a person, I think like in terms of a fit, that's a perfect fit. If anybody's going to get Jameis Winston's best season, it's going to be Bruce Arians. And then I also think, as much as we might not like the things that they're saying, oftentimes I think they're a smokescreen. I think the Detroit Lions, the Detroit Lions got better in a lot of important places this offseason. Their wide receivers got healthy. Their defensive front, added Trey Flowers, who's a really good player. At slot, they added Justin Coleman from the Seattle Seahawks in one of the most important positions. You add him to Darius Slay, who's one of the best corners in the NFL, one of the more underrated guys. And I think that defense is going to be pretty good, especially Matt Patricia, who was good there with New England. Matthew Stafford's always a player I think is dangerous, right? And that offense, if they can get on a roll, will put themselves in position to get in that 8-9 win range. So I think in the the NFC, those teams are pretty good sleepers. And I think in the AFC, you do have to think of somebody like Jacksonville because they were just on the precipice last season, right? And then they come back down, and then Nick Foles. I think Nick Foles he's never going to give the Jacksonville Jaguars an 8-8 season, but he's going to give them a bunch of 4-12 and 12-4 seasons, which pick which one you want this year, and that's kind of like going to be what it's going to be. There are some other teams I often mention the Bengals because the math sometimes likes them, but I just can't see it with my eyes. So I probably will relent there.
You know what's weird is last year we just didn't really have sleepers last year that succeeded. I don't think. Usually there's a couple of teams that going into that
Chicago was
for a 12-4.
Yeah.
I don't think we would have said 12-4, but I remember even anybody who was paying close attention to their offseason. You hire a coach from the Chiefs. You add a ton of talent around Mitch Trubisky. It's year 2 for a young quarterback. They usually take a step forward. And then the defense adds Khalil Mack. As soon as they added Khalil Mack, they were not sleepers anymore, I think. And you go through the rest of the league, and I mean, Seattle and Los Angeles, New Orleans, Dallas and Philly, like these just Kansas City, these teams, I think that the better teams just rose to the top for the most part. Maybe Baltimore would have been a mild sleeper, but you never count out Baltimore with John Harbaugh as your coach. And when I look at this year, I think that there's a lot more potential for sleeper teams to surprise us, I guess. When I look at, you mentioned Tampa Bay and Detroit, we would be picking those just based off kind of what we saw last year as some of the worst teams maybe in the NFL because Tampa is just consistently bad and Jameis Winston is kind of a messy player. Even for all the good that he does, he equals it out with bad, with interceptions and fumbles and sacks and all that. And Detroit, Matt Patricia looked last year like one of the most inept coaches that I can remember. And I mean, a guy who halfway through the year trades Golden Tate because they're not getting along.
And trades for a run stopper.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, and even though, Snacks Harrison is a great player, it's still like a very bizarre choice to like, wait, are you trying to win? Are you not trying to win? Like, what are you doing here? You're trading away Golden Tate.
One team, and again, I don't know if this qualifies, but like the Colts, I think were a good sleeper. Their over under was like 6.5, 7. they started 1-5, and but they have a quarterback, right? And the
Right.
only question is whether Andrew Luck was going to be as good as he was previously. To look at the AFC though, you really look at some of these teams, and the key ingredient to all of them is does the quarterback emerge, right? So if you look at like some bad teams, you look at the Broncos, right? You basically need Drew Lock to start and to be really good. You look at the Jets, you need Sam Darnold to be really good. You look at the Bills, like I don't have faith in the Jets or the Bills.
Hmm.
Their Vegas over-unders are a lot higher than they were last year, but I don't think they deserve them. But again, it's which one of these young quarterbacks is actually going to emerge and be one of the next great signal callers in the league, and I just don't see it. Right? Maybe a team, maybe Tennessee would be a team with a veteran-ish quarterback. But I don't necessarily see it there. So I agree. I think the AFC, it's pretty much the New England Patriots, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Chargers, the Colts, and then maybe Pittsburgh, and then maybe the Cleveland Browns, and then everybody else.